welcome to another episode of Let's Make It. This is episode number 53, and it's recorded what's today, the 24th of February in 2014. And we actually haven't been here for, 2 weeks, I believe. Different things came up. I actually went the first Monday. I actually had to go to a viewing, so it took a little more importance than this. But then last week we just didn't get a chance to get one in. So we tried a couple different days and just never worked out. So we decided just to wait until today. And today Bob's going to show us some stuff he's been working on. And let's see, where's Bob? There's Bob. How you doing, Bob?
Hello.
Hello. How you been doing?
I'm doing good.
So we actually gotten some warm weather.
Yeah, well, it's been very nice here.
Yeah, don't rub it in because it's cold again here. It was nice. It was nice here, and now it's cold. So maybe we can get some more snow.
You don't know that I was wearing shorts today. So.
No, nope.
Okay.
That's information I don't really care to know.
Okay.
So a lot of things have happened in the last couple weeks since we've been going. I'm going to show a couple of things here shortly that actually I've been working on, which is keeping me busy. Been doing some video install type work as well. So one of the things I want to talk about was this is something I'm showing in upcoming weeks. This is one of new cameras, and you see a little thing hanging off there. That's an Ethernet adapter. So this camera has Ethernet control. So I'm going to be building a physical control to control the camera. These cameras don't have a CCU or a camera control unit that can control them, but they're web-based. So you can log into a web page. Well, I'm going to try to take an Arduino and use physical controls to control the camera remotely. So it's kind of simulating a CCU and that type of function. So last time, Bob, maybe it was 2 times ago, I showed you this panel that I had gotten, the white panel. Actually, I can show it to you before I turn it on and blind everybody, this white panel. So over the last couple weeks, I've actually been playing with it. It's actually pretty impressive. It's very bright. Actually, it's probably a little too bright. And it's very neat how you can program each individual pixel. And I'm going to plug it in, and it's going to get really bright really quickly. So actually, let me unplug the Arduino before I plug it in. And hopefully this works.
Well, it was working earlier. I didn't tell everybody that. I did see it working.
Yes, I'm going to go plug the Arduino in. And it's probably going to get right. Okay, so this is working the way it's supposed to work. So you're going to see a bunch of patterns coming around. You see the more things that come out. It gets brighter and brighter. But you can see each pixel can be individually addressed. And this is that 2812 chip that basically has a mini shift register on each LED. So you can basically do RGB using one wire. You can't see it now, but there's one wire right here that is the control, and this other wire is just the ground for reference. So you're going to see it right now. It's going to get the rainbow effect. It's going to go through a bunch of things that I was playing with in different shapes and blinking and things like that. So a very impressive panel. It does tend to get very warm. You probably can't tell exactly how bright it is. Actually, if you look at my face, you can kind of see it right here. That's all off that panel, so it is quite bright. But it's one of the coolest things I'll play with as far as an LED array, because the control you have over it. And I play with the things that are 3 colors the whole panel, or the whole strip turns one color. So it's pretty neat. I don't remember taking this long in the rainbow effect, but it'll go through and do other blinking things and walking, and there's the red and blue. Well, it's kind of hard to tell on the camera, or my eyes are blind. I can't tell which at this point. But it's pretty neat with things you can do with it. I mean, to individually address a 16 by 16 LED array is pretty impressive, actually. And you can see I'm going to 2 different sizes. I just have an algorithm that I created that can do a bunch of different things, and I just call them. Basically, one line does all the blinking and everything, going back and forth.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and there you see it's dim. That's how I switched on all the colors, probably. There's red, white, and blue. That was the Olympic theme. I think I was watching Olympics when I wrote this, actually.
There you go.
So yeah, all kinds of different things. Actually, and I also got some stuff like different shapes too, which will come up here, and you can do anything you can program into an array or any kind of pixel type image. It's 16 by 16. You can pretty much draw out and have it put out there. It's almost done, I believe. Yeah, you can see how it's playing with different widths of bars. The algorithm I wrote basically allows you to do 1, 2, or 3 colors and how wide you want the bars and you want the walk. Or actually, I think you can do 4 colors. I did 1, 2, 3, and 4. It looks funny on the camera, like it's bending, kind of. Yeah, that's very bright.
Still
There,
looks good.
yeah, there's an X, and then I don't know. I'm taking the rotation of it out, but I had a thing where I was rotating the X in a circle.
There you go.
Yeah, I was just showing. Did you do a shape in the background? There's just different functions that I wrote, and I think that's the last thing it does. Is it this before it starts over. So that was something I've been playing with actually over the last couple of weeks. That was one of the things I've been playing with, in addition to the cameras and a bunch of other things that's going on. And you can kind of see how bright it is. And I'll wait till I go to Bob to unplug it because it's kind of noisy to unplug the way I got it set up. So, Bob, you're going to do the GPS thing tonight. Do you have a second thing you're going to do as well?
No, not tonight.
Okay.
No, I didn't finish it.
Okay. No, that's fine. I wasn't sure. I hadn't heard for sure if you had a chance to get done or not. So I was going to ask. Let's see here. I'm going to fix up your screen real quick here. There you go. Oh, did it again.
You work hard for your business. Your website should too. No matter what industry you're in, select your customizable high-quality design with professionally written content and graphic elements created for your business. Make changes online whenever you like. Switch your background color, page layout, and text anytime. Add your pictures and logo. Upgrade your website with useful one-in-one web apps. And integrate social media. Upload your photo albums and embed videos. With one click, optimize your website for viewing on mobile devices. Choose your free domain, or you can easily transfer an existing one. Thanks to One-in-One's SEO tools, customers can find you everywhere. One-in-One My Website, a professional website created by you.
When you open up an Audible audiobook, it opens up your imagination. Enjoy a steamy romance while ironing the sheets. Discover an historic battle while battling the bulge at the gym. Visit audible.com/freebooks now to try 2 books absolutely free. Get caught up in a whodunit during a do-it-yourself project. Listen anytime, anywhere with the Audible mobile app. When you're out for a walk, learn how to climb the corporate ladder. Or bring a little magic to your minivan with a fantasy novel. With over 100,000 titles, Audible is an amazing experience that you can now try absolutely free. And just like our books, there's no binding. Our great listen guarantee lets you exchange a title you don't like for another. No questions asked. Visit audible.com/freebooks to download 2 books of your choice right now.
All right. Well, this week we're gonna, let me switch over the camera. This is a little project that actually started off as a viewer request about how could you use an Arduino to make a GPS tracker. So I have an Arduino, and it's actually running right now, and we'll switch to the terminal window that's going, and it actually just picked up my location. We were talking about, Mike and I were talking about this before the show, that after a while, it will actually pick up my location. And where I'm at is buried in a 3-story building in a condo building, and I happen to be in the bottom floor, 25 feet from a window. And this unit and this little antenna is good enough to actually pick up where I'm at eventually. And we'll look at some raw data, but what I did was I made this GPS shield and an Arduino, some very simple code, and then I went to a local store and got this USB with a barrel connector on it. And, you know, like lots of other people, I've got my iPhone charger in my car, and I just unplugged it and plugged this in, and within a minute or so, this thing is logging data onto the SD card. So let me switch to my desktop, and then we can look at some code.
So it is pretty impressive that you're inside a building like that and it's picking up that. So how accurate is it, do you think, whenever you're in the building?
We could probably look. When I discovered that this worked, it was pretty darn close. And in the data that I've got some sample data that I did a few days ago when I was out running errands, and I just let it, plugged it into the car and let it go, and it could pick out the correct lane in the highway that I was in. So
that's impressive. I remember back in the day, you get GPSs, you'd be like in the middle of the field for it to pick up any kind of satellite.
Yeah, and this one, it's done really well tracking me, almost too well. But the code, well, here, let me come back over here. Here's the shield that we're using, and you'll see. Let me zoom in right here. They have these. They have all of these little jumpers right here, and you have to set which pins you're using, and then you can use the soft serial library from Arduino, so you can connect, so you can collect the serial data from this in a terminal window. At the same time, you're logging the data and still upload new code. So, there's always a conflict if you're using pins 1 and 2 with serial data. You've got a conflict because that's the same pins the Arduino's talking to a computer with. So this lets you switch the pins, and I'm actually using pins 2 and 3, and we'll see that in the code. But it's a nice little shield, SD card, reasonably priced, and obviously with this antenna works really well.
So a couple of things. We've never really gone through the software serial stuff. We probably should do that at some point. Well, we've never really talked about the additional.
That isn't something we've talked about.
Yeah, because I've actually, I don't know if I've ever used it myself. I've read about it, but I mean, it's pretty simple to use. I understand, but I've always, if I ever do multiple serials, I'm generally using like a Mega, which has 3 serial ports on it. So.
Right, and with an Arduino, it's just got the one, and with a Leonardo, there's only one. And when I actually started this demo, I actually started it with a Leonardo and had trouble with it, and it was because of the way a Leonardo handles serial data. And as soon as I switched to an Uno and used the soft serial library, it started working. Now, I can go back and get a Leo to work, but we need to do some other things, and I just didn't bother doing it since I got it to work with my Uno. So the code, this code, it's essentially the code that came from I'm using the tiny GPS library, And this is essentially what's called the simple, I think it's called simple example. Simple test. I'm sorry, simple test. This is essentially a modified simple test, and I've got the soft serial library. I'm going to write to an SD card, and so there's only two functions in here, the setup and the loop. So I've got a serial connection back to the terminal window, and you can actually see the terminal window running down here in the corner. And then I've got the soft serial connection to the GPS unit itself. When I talked to tech support, which since I was having trouble with the Leo, and I also had a problem with the tiny GPS, some of the software in a different example, I contacted tech support, and I was very impressed. They were very quick with answers back and were quite helpful. But one of the things they told me was that 38400 is the preferred speed for the serial connection with the GPS. So that's what I've set. This code right here comes out of the simple test example. This code, Mike, you should recognize this because it's essentially the same code that you had in your example a few weeks ago with an SD card.
Right.
So, and it uses pin 10 just like normal. And then the loop, we wait 1 second for it to connect to collect data, and then we're sending that data to the screen. And if you didn't have your serial monitor connected, you could just comment that out, and we're collecting the raw data, and that's being recorded onto the SD card right now. And here's the serial monitor, and this is the data that's coming off of it, and this is real-time data that actually figured out where I was at, which was very surprising.
Yeah, that is surprising. So I can think of a couple of things other than even location. So are you familiar with a Strata 1 time device or Strata 2? Either one?
No, I'm not.
So basically, Strata 1 is like the actual atomic clock for the most part, and it is the device that keeps the time. GPS runs off that Strata 1, so you could take that time and build like an NTP time server. And
yes,
very inexpensively. I mean, if you ever went out and bought an NTP server that has a Strata connection, it's very expensive. We're talking $1,000, $2,000, and here we're talking about what, under $100?
Oh, for this, I don't have. If somebody were to go buy an Uno, a GPS unit, this antenna I think was $8. The barrel USB connector was $3. This whole thing, I don't think the whole thing is what, $65?
Yeah, so
70?
I think I'm gonna experiment with that, because I mean you can do it over the internet, but sometimes it's just nice to be disconnected or somewhere where you have a Strata 1 clock. Especially like all the broadcast stuff that I do, the clocks that are broadcast quality that do Strata 1 type connections are very, very expensive. I can build a my own clock for hardly anything comparatively.
Yeah. This is really inexpensive to get the clock, and of course, all we're doing is reading. I'm not doing anything with this data, but just grabbing it off the GPS and throwing it into a log file, and you could easily strip out the time and the date, and of course it's UTC time that you're getting. So,
right.
Right now, I'm in the central time zone, and it's 8:37 my time, and it's actually showing 02:37 because I'm 6 hours off from UTC.
Right.
So yeah, it would be very easy to strip out date and time out of that GPS string and do something with it. And I'm not doing anything here but just grabbing it and logging it onto the SD card. So, and this is actually the data. This is what the data looks like. That that I collected one afternoon, and you can tell that it, it once you plug it in, it does take a little while to sync up to the time you can get from one satellite, but to get a GPS you've got to have
three.
At least you need at least three. So it takes a little while. But this thing is small enough that, and I hid it in the car.
Yeah.
And just had the antenna next to the window. So, let's say if I had a teenager that I wanted to track where they were going and when they were going somewhere, this would be really easy to put in a car and hide it, or track your, if you want to track where you're going. It's really easy to track where you're going. So
let me ask you this question: the data you're storing on the card, what kind of data is it? Like, is it compressed data, or is it the whole data string?
This is just the raw GPS string of data that's coming off the unit. I didn't do any compression.
So do you figure out how long you could store that on a card so the card had filled up?
I didn't even bother. This data file that we're looking at was me running around, and we'll get to Google Earth here in a minute to show what you can do with the data once you've captured it. I went to several places and drove around town, and I think this file is 140K, 150K, something like that.
That's it. That's crazy.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, and this is a 2 gig SD card that I have on here, and the Arduino will support a 4 gig. So yeah, you could go a long time with this on. Now in my car, when the power shuts off, when you turn the car off, the power to the USB is shut off.
Right.
So it only tracks when the car is on.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So if you had somebody you're trying to track, like you said about your kids, something like that,
right?
You basically could put it in a box under the hood somewhere, and when the car was running, it would be recorded every so often. Just go out and grab the SD card.
That's right. So it wouldn't be a lot of trouble. Now this data file right here, I did a little research, and I discovered that this seems to be, this GPS visualizer is the preferred location to convert your raw GPS data into Google Earth data. And you can see here's the file that I used, and I fooled around with these. It's got some nice tracking options, and I finally just played with these until I came up with something that I liked. And then it makes a KMZ file, KML file.
Yeah, KML. I don't know what that is.
Okay. It gives you one of those files, and then you can download it, and then you can put it into Google Earth, and this is the raw data file. Where'd it go? This file right here, this is the data that was collected. So you can see that I plugged it in. This location right there, that's the post office. And I left the post office and then drove up here to the office supply place, turned around, came back, and you can tell, and I'm gonna, tell on myself, you can tell in this highway, this is the right lane.
Yeah.
Okay. I was in that lane, and it tells you, it tells you how fast I was going. So one of these, it says that I was going a little faster than I was supposed to. So drove down the highway, came back. For if somebody is interested in trivia, right there is where the old Texas Stadium used to be. And it's still, for somebody who lives in Dallas, it still looks funny not driving past there and not seeing Texas Stadium anymore.
Yeah, right there at Loop 12 and 183.
Yep. And they blew it up a couple years ago.
Did they really blow it up?
It's blown up and gone.
Wow.
Now it's some shipping company has built a terminal there, and you can kind of see the outline right there of, you can kind of see the shape.
Yeah.
It's still there. That's where the stadium used to be, and now they've got this, shipping company owns it, which is kind of depressing, but and then you can see where I cruised down the highway and then got off the highway, and right here is, I stopped right there, and that's a grocery store where I went to, and then here's Love Field for those who know Dallas. And I'm sorry, I told you wrong. Right here is the grocery store, and then right there is the 7-Eleven where I got my Slurpee fix, since I'm pretty much addicted to Slurpees. And then I came up here and was stopping. There's a electronics store right there, and I don't know what happened to the last couple data points, but so it tracked me around town and got me in the right lanes, and ratted me out on the speed, because you click on one of these data points and it tells you how fast I'm going.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
So it was really useful and simple code and worked really well. Now, as I was talking about earlier, I did have a little trouble with the Leo and getting it working before I switched to Uno. And one of the things that I got from tech support is to put a blank sketch, you load a blank sketch onto the Arduino, which is just, it'll be in the show notes, but it's basically a setup and a loop with nothing no code, and then switch it back to the pins 0 and 1 for regular receiving and transmission of data over the serial connection, and then use this U-Center software, and then you can figure out which satellites it's seeing, what, you get a much better feel for what the raw data is. Unfortunately, this is only available in Windows, and I'm on my Mac tonight, so I can't show this in use, but this was really nice software, and actually really interesting to see all the information that you could find that the GPS is reading. So a very nice little this was a nice little project this week. So
very interesting. So
very interesting.
Again, who's the manufacturer of that?
ITEAD Studios is the name of the company, and I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. And they have quite a few products, and nice product, good tech support, reasonably priced. I was really happy with it. So.
Yep, that's very, very interesting. Very cool.
Yeah, nice little project, and easily something that if you wanted to, even if you just wanted to track yourself, you need to log mileage, for the company and that you work for. This would be really easy to strip that data out and not waste a lot of time chasing your tail, with a logbook or something, or of course, first thing I thought of was my teenager, and where are they, and when are they, and how fast are they going?
Right.
So, so nice. It is a nice project.
Yeah, very good. So we have people in the chat room tonight. Jim and Scotty are in the chat room. They've been chatting. So did you see or maybe you sent this to me. Jim sent me an email today about how cold it was where he is located. So I think it was like negative 25, and if he's in Canada, that's Celsius.
Ugh.
So
okay, that is why I live in Texas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I am allergic to real winter.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up here real quick. I'm pretty sure it was negative 25.
Ugh. That makes me cold just thinking about it.
Yeah, it did me too. So, as you guys were chatting in the chat room, I noticed Jim said about he got a commercial from Justin, and this, for future reference, if you watch it on what is it, Dailymotion, there are no commercials, so you can get commercial free on Dailymotion. That's kind of the reason we kind of went that direction. Let's see. Trying to find his email. So I was pretty blown away about how cold it was.
Well, some
I
of the
can't see it, though.
some of the temperature sensors we've played with on the show
Don't go that cold.
don't go that cold.
No, I know. I know.
The one that I used, the one that I've used a couple times for the show, only goes to 0.
0 Celsius or 0?
0 Celsius.
Okay.
So 32 Fahrenheit. So freezing. It goes to freezing.
Right. That's
Because here I don't need one that goes
no. You're right.
colder than that very often.
Right.
I need one that goes hot, but I don't need one that goes cold.
Yeah, I just found it's negative 25 where he is. Oh yeah, he even said it. Negative 25 Celsius. Yes. Yeah, that's just crazy. Not complaining because it's freezing today. Actually, it was 32 today. 32 Fahrenheit.
All right, Jim. I had shorts on today.
That's not fair. Okay.
Of course, you guys laugh at us when it's 100 something here, and
Yeah, but if it's in the summertime, it's pretty dry.
95% humidity and 105 temperature. So
Yeah, it's only even in the spring there. It's also in the summertime, it's pretty dry.
most of the time, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Thanks, Jim. Definitely appreciate it. So I noticed we were scrolling back here. Scotty uses Code Igniter and Expression Engine. So that's interesting. We have some coders in here too.
and tonight wasn't a show with any interesting code.
No.
Tonight's code was pretty straightforward. The soft serial library and the tiny GPS, they pretty much take care of all the hard work for us.
So you want to give a little bit of a hint to what the other thing you're working on is?
Well, in the 555 timer episode, I mentioned a decade counter, and I've gotten a couple requests to explain what is a decade counter. So I've got a little project that I'm working on and I had it working and then decided I didn't want to use a 555 timer. I wanted it to be interactive, so I tore it all apart and haven't put it back together yet. So, but a simple decade counter, which is a basic IC that all it does is count. It's very simple, easy to use, and it's a great little IC to have in your toolbox of goodies to use. So
Yeah, we should probably
that'll be coming up.
we should also note that there's no CPU required for that either.
Nope, and that's why. And I had it cooked up to the 555s as a timer, and then decided to take that out and put a switch in, where I was my button pushes is the timer.
Right, so you can use that for other things, physical switches, physical limit switches, or anything like that.
That's right.
So Jim wants to know, does it count how old you are, Bob? In decades?
No. Although it counts more than my decade count. So.
What is it, an 8-bit decade counter?
Yeah. Actually, it's going to be a 10.
10?
Yeah. This is a 4017, so it's a 10 count.
All right, good. All right, well, actually, we've only been going for 30 minutes, so we're kind of short tonight. But that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah. So unless we have any other questions or anything else you want to cover, we can probably say goodnight.
I'm done for the night.
All
That's
right.
what I got.
All right. That sounds good.
All right.
All right. We'll see
Good
you
night.
everybody. See you everybody next week. For show notes for this show, contacts, and more, go to the TechZen.tv website where you can get show notes for all of our shows. We love to hear from our viewers and listeners. We have an email, a Twitter, and a phone number where you can contact us for each show. For details, visit the TechZen.tv website and get the show details. You can also make a video and upload it somewhere like YouTube or Vimeo and then just send us a link. You never know, you may see your video in a future show. You can get all of our shows delivered automatically to your favorite device by going to your favorite podcast website like iTunes and subscribing. Each of our shows also has a YouTube channel you can subscribe to get regular updates. Our shows are also available on most internet radio networks like Stitcher and TuneIn Radio. You can also watch and listen to our shows on Xbox, TiVo, and Roku. You can even find us on your Zune.